Everyone is able to see my screen now? So now we will be seeing about the last topic in the Spring Core, which is very, very important for the interview point of view questions. Okay. So which is called Spring Bean Life Cycle. So which is called Spring Bean Life Cycle. Okay. What is a Spring Bean Life Cycle? So basically this will tell like right from Spring Bean creation, that means application context creates the Spring Bean. Okay. So it manages the beans through dependency injections. Spring Bean life cycle. So application context creates a Spring Bean, manages the beans through dependency injections. And then when bean is managed and application context creates a Spring Bean, manages the beans through dependency injections and destroys the beans if no longer used, right? Or we can say like this. Application context creates the Spring Bean, manages the bean through dependency injections, and manages till the bean is destroyed. Okay. We know application context creates a Spring Bean, manages the beans through dependency injections, and manage till the beans are destroyed. Okay, actually, when bean is getting created, some stages happens right from bean creation to bean ready. Right from bean creation to bean ready. Okay. When bean is getting created, some stages happens right from bean creation to bean ready. Okay. When bean is getting created, some stages happens right from bean creation to bean ready. So what will happen? These are the stages. Now, when bean is created, first the constructor of the is called. Okay. Next, this dependency injection happens. Next, bean aware methods. I'll tell you all this. Next, bean post processing, post construct, initializing bean, custom init, bean post processing. Bean is ready to use. Okay, these are the steps. Okay, I'll tell you this. Okay, don't worry about this. But you have to remember. And you might think like these are green color boxes. Why these two are blue color boxes? I'll tell you that one also. Why? Okay, instead of explaining like this, I'll explain through a program so that you'll understand clearly. So what I'll do is, I'll say file new Maven project. It is Spring Bean life cycle demo. Okay. I'll add this. I'll say new class employee, new class department. So I'll copy these two. Similarly, I'll copy this app config also. Okay, here I'll say private string employee. Okay. Employee ID, private string, employee name, and I'll say private department. An employee contains is also department, right? This I'll use automobile. Then I'll just generate setters and getters. Okay. So now what I'll do is, so I'll just say application context. Right. Fine. So now what I'll do is just see here. Now an employee constructor. I'll say system dot out dot println in employee construct. Similarly, when I say set a department, here I'll put one print statement here. In a set a department. Right? So here I have an employee constructor, and here I have a set a department. Now what I'll do is I'll just run this program. Why it is not printed? Or let me remove this. I'll put here only. Something is happening with the new projects here. No problem. This is books exhibition, right? I will just click it here. So what I'll do is in my employee.java. Okay, something is happening with the new projects. Okay, I'll just use this one only. Don't worry. Similarly, department also. I'll just say private string department ID. And I'll say private string department name. I'll generate source and getters. Okay, now I'll run this program. Now say I got an employee constructor. Then just one. Just 1 minute. Huh? Something is happening here. Something is issue with my workspace. Here I'll put like 5.0.6.release. Employee constructor. Now you see it is coming. Now you see. Earlier it was not coming. Right? An employee constructor is coming, right? Right. Then here what I'll do, I'll put auto wired here. Okay. Fine. Now it is coming. That's what. See, I changed it to JDK 1.8. In my system, some JDK 17 issue is there. Now it is working. See, I changed it to now JDK 1.8 version. Okay, some 17 version JDK, I have some issue in my system. I have to reinstall it again. See, but with JDK 1.8, it is working. So now you see, when I run this program, yes, now you see. So now I'll tell you what is happening. So now what is happening? Go to this code first, I'll explain. That's what from 2 days onwards, we are seeing that issue, right? Some projects it is working, some, so I change it to 1.8. Similarly, this is your app config. So this is your app config. Then you have auto wired, sorry, employee class. Let me put here. So right now you see here. When I run this program, first, what is the object that is getting created? Your application context object. So what I'm supplying here, app config. This is equal to the XML, right? I told you. So this app config will first check the configuration. So this configuration annotation will be like your XML. Next, it will check for component scan. What's component scan will do? It will scan for the components. This one, similarly, your department is also having, right? Department name. So I'll just generate source, generate and getter service. So this department also is a component, right? I'm just putting here. So now what will happen now? When this application context is getting created, okay, it will scan for the components. Then by default, this is a singleton and this is also singleton, right? This is also singleton. It's because we did not put any scope here. So, and by default, they're eager loading also. That means eager loading means there is no lazy annotation. That means during the time of application context creation only, application context creation only, Okay, employee and department beans are created. Now, when the beans are getting created, now we will see what are the different steps involved in this beans creation. You know, first step is the bean constructor is called. This is the first step. What is a bean? I mean, we can say like this. The class constructor for which the bean is created is called. So what is your class constructor? This is your class constructor, right? For your employee, this is the constructor. So for department, we did not write department constructor, but if you write department constructor, you will also print. So first, let us see employee. So in employee, first this constructor is getting called. For any Java object that is first constructor, right? So this is what we have seen. So that's why first this is printed. Whatever we have put system.out.println in employee constructor, that is printed here. Okay. So this is the first step. I mean, when the bean is getting created, these are the different steps that takes place. Second, if there is any auto-wired on field or on property or setter method, then the setter method is called. Setter method of the property is called. Okay. Then the setter. I think I told XML so many times actually. Okay. I'm not going to tell that because last week we have spent completely on XML. Okay. So we'll focus only on the annotations now. I told that several times. Okay. So if there is any auto-wired on property or setter method, then the setter method of the property is called. Now here, if you see, where is your setter method? See, I have auto-wired on the set method like this. See, I can have auto-wired here on the field. Here I can have the auto-wired. Here also I can have the auto-wired on this set method. So that what will happen now? So yes, there is an auto-wired on the set method. So now this method is called. That means this method. So that's why if you see here, there is a method, there is a print statement insert department got printed. You see, from where this print statement came, this came from here. That means this method is called. That means when bean is getting created, first the constructor is getting called. Suppose employee bean is getting created from your application context. First the constructor is getting, first constructor calls. Next, if you have auto-wire on any set method or on the property, so the set method is called. Now we have put on the set method just to see this print statement. So yes, now we are seeing this in set department. Right? Next. Okay, everyone understood till this part? So first the constructor, next the auto-wide methods. Right? Now what we will do is, in app config components can is there, right? See, that is the reason I tell to everyone, don't miss my classes. I told this actually several times. So if you miss my old classes and come to this class, you will not understand. Those who come regularly to my class only will understand everything. This component scan is here, right? What is the use of this component scan? Even if you don't have bean methods here, that will scan for these components and create the objects. Right? Right. So, fine. Now, first constructor is called. Next, auto-wire is called. Next, we'll see one more thing. Let me implement two interfaces. Okay, implements bean name aware, initializing bean name aware, I'll say. Yeah. And application context aware. See, I mean, it is not compulsory we have to implement this. There is no compulsion. Only when required we want. See, why we have to implement these two interfaces is, these are two interfaces. And a class implements these two. These interfaces are part of your Spring Framework package. So if I say add unimplemented methods. So here we'll have two methods. Bean name aware is having this set bean name method. Application context aware is having this method. So basically what actually the thing is, here I'll just print system.out.println name of the bean getting created, name. Okay. Next, system.out.println context object creating the bean. I'll just say application context. See, I told you, right? These two interfaces are not compulsory. But if I want to track what is the bean name, okay? So what will happen is, I'll tell you this. Just 1 minute, I'll run this program. Now you see, I got these two. So let me take once again the program. So this is my app, this is my main class. Okay, this is my main class. And this is my app config class. Next is this is my employee class. Okay, I'll remove all this. I don't need all this. I'll focus only on the, yeah, these two. Okay. Now, suppose if this is the bean that is getting created, right? I mean, the object of this is getting created. Suppose I want to, when this object is getting created, I want to print the name of the object in this class itself. And then I also want to print the application context object, which creates this object. Who is creating this object? The object of this class. The object of this class is getting created by your application context, right? So if I want to capture the bean name method, the bean name, the name of the bean, and also application context object, I want to capture in this class only. Then I will implement these two interfaces. These two interfaces are not compulsory, but these two interfaces are just this. If you implement this interface, that has this method actually. That's why it is called override. Override it is. Okay, this method came from bean name aware interface. That's why it's called set bean. Okay. Similarly, if I implement this interface has this method actually. So application context aware is set application context. So now what happens is, now when bean is getting created, when your application context creates the bean, First, when application context creates the bean, So first, a constructor of the bean is called. Next, if any auto whiled, okay, on property or setter method, so that method is called. The setter method is called. Okay. What is setter method? Where you inject an object, right? Through that setter method, you'll be passing that object. And third one, okay, if any aware interfaces, we call this as aware interfaces, like bean name aware, application context aware, are present, then those methods are called. Okay. So that means this method is called, this method is called. That's why if you see here in the output, if you see, these four are printed. Okay. So these four are printed. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So first constructor is called. Next set department is called. That means if any auto, this is called. Right? This is called. That's why if you see in set department. Next, bean name aware called. So this method is called. See name of the bean getting. See now you see it is printing the name. What is the name of the bean getting created? Employee is the name of the bean getting created. Okay. And then context object getting created is this one. So these are context object getting created. I mean, the context object which is creating this bean. Okay, this is your context object. As I told you, these two interfaces are not compulsory. If you want to print the name of the bean and also context object getting created, you will use these two interfaces and you can override this. That's why if you see in the diagram also, see, first constructor is called. Next, dependency injection, if any setter method, that is called. Third one, calling bean aware methods. If you see the serial flow like this, 1, 2, 3. We'll see about this post blue color box later. First, we'll study green color box. So first this is called, next this is called, next this is called. Afterwards, these three are called. What are these threes? Now, so first constructor, next auto wait and setter methods. Third, if any aware interface are present. Next is fourth, if any method is annotated with @ post construct, then that method is called. Okay. Okay, now you might get a doubt what this does. See, your constructor after in your constructor, what you can do in constructor, in a class constructor? What you can do in a class constructor? In a class constructor, we can initialize the objects, right? Object values, right? In a class constructor, we can initialize the property values. We can initialize the class property values. Right? In class constructor, we can initialize the class property values. Okay. Now, but we can initialize the class property values like the employee ID, the employee name, but we cannot initialize the department values. Why? Anyone can tell? In the constructor of this class, we can initialize like employee ID equal to some E100, employee name, something like that, okay? Or I can just initialize first an empty string. After that, when object is created, I'll assign. I can do like this, but I cannot actually initialize department dot okay, I cannot initialize actually department dot set department of something like this. I cannot do. Why? Anyone can tell? If I do like this, what will happen? No, that is not the correct answer. Yeah, we'll get null pointer exception. Why? Because, just see, because, why? Because when this object gets created, when this object gets injected into this employee, if you see here, first the constructor of the bean is called. After constructor is called only, then auto-varied is called. When this auto-varied happens only, this department is injected. That means by the time the constructor is getting called, this department object is not available. This will be available only after auto-varied happens. After this department object is passed here. That means after set department. That means we can initialize these two values. Okay, these are your employee, but here department object is injected, is available to employee class only after auto-varied, after set department method call. And when this set department method is called, because this is auto-varied, right? After this constructor gets completed only, this will call. That is the reason if you see in the diagram also, first constructor, next dependency injection methods, like the auto-varied methods. That means when this constructor is getting called, you will not have control on this, you will not have this department object. So you'll get a null pointer exception. But, so that means first this constructor is called, next this is auto-varied is called. Now if I want to initialize, now after this auto-varied is called, after this set department is called, then we'll have the department object injected here in the employee object. Now if I want to initialize this department values, now just like how I'm initializing employee ID, employee name. Now if I want to initialize like this, where I can do. So I can do either in this method or in this method or in this method, in these three. In these three, any of these three methods I can do. That is what we call post construct. Post construct means after constructor. So you can use this or this or this, any of these three. Not an issue. Or you can use all of these three and then initialize some values here, some values here, some values here. Not. Or you can use anything. So first I'll say post construct, calling post construct. Now what I'll do here, I'll say one method, post construct. Okay. Then I'll say post construct. Here I'll say public void after construct. I'll say I can give any name that is okay. I can give my own name, but the annotation should be post construct. So here I can write. Here I can use. I can just call this. Here I can use this department dot set department. Right? Now after this will be available Okay, after this, so I'll put here system dot out dot println. Okay, in post construct. Okay, next. Okay, then what I'll do, then post construct is this one. Next, another one, initializing bean interface method. So here I'll say initializing bean. Okay, I'll just implement that interface in an implement method. So I'll say after property set. So here I'll say system dot out dot println in after property set initializing bean. So here also you can say department dot. I can initialize some properties. Department name. Okay. Then what is the next one? Custom init method. Okay. So here what I do. Okay. Here I'll say custom init method. So here what I'll do. So I'll say public void init. So system dot out dot println in custom init method. Actually, for this custom init method, better these components will not work. I think I'll remove this and I'll create from here. So bean else. Why I'm doing this, I'll tell you. Public, okay, employee, okay. So I'll tell you everything. Okay, 1 minute. So then I'll say return new employee, right? Then I'll say department. So I can remove the component. Why I change it from here to here is here I can use bean init method is equal to init. I'll tell you what is this. So let me run this method, then I'll explain you one by one. Run as, right, everything we got. Okay, now let me take. So this is your main program. So this is your main program. Right. So this is your configuration class. So this is your configuration class. Now you see, this is my employee class. This is my employee class. I'll just remove this. Okay. I think there is no space. I will take this and I will add in another space. Next is I will just add here. Right. Now I got the entire program here. Now you see. Right. So first when application content is getting created, so your configuration now, there is no components can directly bean methods. So to put this one, I have converted this to bean. In component, we cannot put this, but in bean methods, we can put this. I'll tell you now. So first, according to life cycle, what will happen now? First constructor is called. Okay. Now, according to life cycle now, first constructor, that means first this is called. That means this is called now. So first this is called. That's why you are seeing first this statement gets printed. See, this is the output. See. So first this is called. Right? First this is called. Next dependency injection. That means auto while. So second one. So this is the first. Next is second. This is the second. So that's why you see in the output you see second. So this got printed. Next, calling bean aware methods. That is your bean name aware and application context. So what are your bean name aware? So that means this one and this one, right? If you see here. So this one, name of the bean getting created. The same thing is printed here. Name of the bean created and this the name is employee. So this is third one. Next, fourth one, context object creating the bean. That means this one. So that means fourth one. So this is your third. So this is your fourth. So that means this got printed, you see. Context object creating. We are printing the application object. So this is your fourth. Okay, this entire thing is fourth. Because we're printing the complete application context object. Fine. Next, this blue color box will tell you later. Next, this post construct is called. And why we have this post construct means in constructor, we cannot initialize the department related things. Only after dependency injection only you can initialize the department. That's why whichever the values you cannot initialize in the constructor, you can initialize in the post construct. That means here. That means any method that is generated with the post construct. That's why if you see, this is printed as fifth. See in post construct, you see here. See in post construct. So this is your fifth one. Okay. Next, after post construct, initializing bean interface method. So what is this? We are initializing a bean here, interface, and that has this method. Which method? After property set. Okay, this is your sixth method, sixth column. Sixth column. So that's why if you see, in after property set method is called. So this is your sixth one. Okay. And then after this happens, next custom init method. What is your custom init method? My own init method. I'll tell you what is this. So that is this one. But this is a custom method. So I have to define that during the bean definition here. Here like this. I'll say init method equal to this one. This name should match. This name should match with this method. This name should match with this method. So this name, this init method, this should match with this method name. That's why if you see, this is getting printed. You see here. So this is your 7th one. Order is 7th. So you see in custom init, this is 7th one. So whatever this is printing is printed. Now you see here. See, after constructor, whichever values we cannot initialize, that is, your department related will be available not in the constructor after this dependency injection happens. Then you can initialize you can do that in this method, this or this or this. It is not compulsory that you have to use all the 3. Now to showcase you, I have given all the 3. But suppose if you want to initialize the department related things, which you cannot do in constructor because department is injected only after constructor is completed. So the department related values you can initialize in any of these 3, either this or either this or either this. Okay, it is only to show you that I just see here. Here, if you see what I have done in post construct, I initialized for one property, department ID. In after property set, I have initialized for this another property. But you can combine these two also and put in one method, and you can remove this method. Or I don't want these 2 methods. I'll go with my custom method. Then I can put here these 2. Only the difference between these is, I'll tell you. So the difference between these is, where is that? So the difference between this is, your post construct is a Java, it is a Java related annotation. This will work even in non-Spring based, even in Java, normal Java and Spring based applications. So this will work even in this annotation will work, is used to initialize the objects after constructor is called, even in non-Spring based applications, non-Spring based Java applications. Okay, and this initializing bean interface method, this is specific to Spring actually. This is specific to Spring. This is specific to Spring. Okay, this is specific to Spring where we can initialize the values after constructor is called. Suppose I don't want these 2. I don't want these 2. Okay, this provided to be your Java and this provided to be your Spring. I want to go with my own init method. I can write my own init method. See, if I want to use this method, I have to annotate with post construct. If I want to write this initializing bean interface, I have to implement this interface initializing bean. Okay, and then that method after property set I have to write. If I don't want to use these 2, I can write my own custom method, just explain custom method, but this method I have to give in the bean definition like this, so that your application context will know that to call this method whenever the bean is getting created. Okay, so init method is called whenever the employee bean is getting created, because we have put this in the employee bean, right? So that means after completing this line, after completing this line, okay, once the control comes to the second line, that means when context object is getting created, these are the 7 steps that are getting executed. First constructor, next set department, next aware interfaces, next is post construct, next is initializing bean, next is your custom init. And as I told you, either this or this or this, you can use any of these things. Whatever the values you did not initialize in constructor, you can use either of this. Just for showing demonstration, I have used all these three files. And then after completing this, now bean is ready to use. That means the bean is created. The bean is created. That means after completing this line, so once this line is completed, so all the 7 steps get executed and bean is created. Everyone understood till this part? Everyone understood? If all the 3 are you, that will go in this order only. That will go in this order. See my diagram. First post construct is called. See, that's why if you see first this is printed. Next initializing bean is called. So that means this is printed, 6th one. Next custom init method is called. That means this one, 7th one. If all 3 are you, this is the priority. Right? So next bean is ready to. I'll explain this blue color boxes. What are these? After the first green color boxes, I'll explain. Okay. Fine. Now once bean is ready, that means bean, your employee bean is ready to use. Okay, that means after completing this line, I can use my bean like context dot. I can call the bean and I'll say employee dot class. And here I'll say employee emp is equal. Okay. So my bean is ready to use. After some time, what you know? Okay, let me see. Always we have to shut down we have to close the context. Once the end of the program. Once I am done, I have to close the context. Okay, once I'm done. But here application context doesn't have close method. Your parent class doesn't have close method, but this is having. So that's why I'll just use this one. That's all. So I'll say context dot close. That means when the context dot is closed, that means I'm closing the application context. I'm done. That means at the end of the program, I'm closing the context. At the time, once context dot close is called, then these two methods for destroying the bean are called. Okay. Now let me put that here. Just like post construct, I'll say pre-destroy. Pre-destroy. And I'll say public void before destroy. And I'll say system dot out dot println in pre-destroy method. In pre-destroy method. Okay. I'll tell you what is this. Okay. Then similarly, I'll also have like okay, disposable bean. So I'll just say here, add input methods. And here I'll say in disposable bean interface. In destroy method, disposable bean interface. Now, if I run the program, I'll show you what is happening. Okay, see, these two are printed. What it is printing is, I'll tell you. So till this part, custom init method is okay, right? Till this part, it is fine. Right? Till this part, this is fine. Now, once this line is getting completed, all these 7 steps, all these 7 steps are printed. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Total how many? 6 steps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I mean, bean name over with 2 are there. So that's why 7 are come. Okay. One is application context aware and another is bean name. Okay. But aware are fine. So 7 are there, right? So okay. So till this part, when the bean is before ready to use, till this part, this is created. Once the bean is created, then what we are doing now? Once the bean is created, this bean is ready to use. Then after certain amount of time, we'll close the context now. When we're closing the context, what will happen now? Now, after this, bean destroy, pre-destroy is called. That means this one. So bean destroy, that means this is called. That's why if you see, you got here, if you see here, pre-destroy method got printed. Next, after that, disposable bean interface method. This is called. What is disposable bean interface? So this method, I'm implementing a disposable bean. Okay. And this is called in destroy method disposable. That's why you see this is printed. Again, I'll tell you again here. See, just like construct, once bean is ready to use, once you are closing the context, these methods will be called. Why means, again, either you can use this or this, not compulsory both. Just like how construct 3 methods, either this or this. Here you can use either this or this, either this or this. What we do in these methods is, suppose if the bean is handling any kind of connections, database connections, okay? Suppose a bean is handling any kind of database connections or file connections, okay? So before the bean is destroyed, we close those connections in these methods. In either of these methods. Okay, in either of these methods. Either this method, pre-destroy method, or disposable interface method, either of these two, we will handle these kind of things. That means bean, when context.close means bean is about to die. The object is about to die. Before the object is dying, we'll handle the closing these connections in either of these methods. After that, the bean will die. So that is how these two methods. Any doubt till now? Any questions till now? We'll see these 2 blue color boxes later, but everyone is aware of, everyone understood the green color boxes? Right? You don't understand, right? So context.close means once we are done with our work, before the end of the program, we'll use, it is always best practice to close this so that whatever the objects that are associated with this context will get die. Now, when this close is called, then these two methods are called. I mean, again, either you can use this method or this method. And in these two methods, just like in post construct, how you're handling either this method or this method or this method, like that you can handle this method or this method, and you can close any kind of file connections before the bean is getting destroyed. Okay. So this is an important interview question. If anyone asks, you can show this diagram and then you can explain that. So I'll tell you these blue color boxes. What are these blue color boxes later? But first, green color boxes are important. This blue color box I'll tell you tomorrow. Yeah. So always better to close our connections from our end. Yes, you are correct. Normally we will handle this. Same here also we have to handle this. Okay. All right then. So we'll see these blue color boxes later. What is happening? Okay then. Okay then. Thank you all. Okay. See you tomorrow. Thank you all.